Beyond every illusion lies a deeper truth. Welcome to Beyond the Illusion with the R-TisT-O. Welcome to episode 5. Thank you for listening. This is Why People Believe. What always fascinated me about magic, here we go again. I keep saying magic. My main thing is about all this is that we are all illusionists. So whether we do a card trick, whether we do a rubber band trick, whether we are on the stage appearing tigers or a girl, or we're cutting a girl in half, or we're levitating in front of someone, or changing a coin, or whatever you do, we're all illusionists. We're all fooling the mind, fooling the eye. I hope there was a way to get rid of the word magic or magician or a trick and keep it as illusion. So from now on, I think you should think of, if you're just starting this art, consider yourself an illusionist. So what always got me fascinated about magic is it's not the trick, it's himself, but how badly people want something impossible to be real. Even when they know that they're watching an illusionist, part of them still hopes maybe, just maybe, something unexplainable happened. And honestly, I think that's human nature. People want mystery in their lives. They want wonder. I've seen it happen so many times after showing an illusion. At first, people laugh, and then they start thinking. Then comes the silence. That moment where their brain is trying to decide what did they just witness, what happened. And sometimes, even when they know there has to be a logic explanation, emotion becomes stronger than logic. That's when illusion becomes powerful. I remember people accusing me of using invisible strings, special powers, even saying things like, that's not normal. And what's interesting is most of the time they weren't really afraid of the trick. They were reacting to the feeling, that strange moment when reality stops making complete sense. I remember showing a rope trick to one of my coworkers once. I held up a long rope and let him clearly see both ends. Then I brought the middle section upward and picked up a pair of scissors, and slowly I cut the rope directly in the center. At that point, everything looked, impossible to restore. The rope had clearly been cut into separate pieces. So I tied the two cut ends together into a knot. To him, the illusion was over. The rope was damaged, the knot proved it. But then something strange happened. The knot began sliding freely across the rope as I moved it back and forth. And suddenly the rope was whole again. No cuts, no damage, just one long rope. And I still remember the expression on his face, because at first he was trying to follow the method, but somewhere during the illusion, logic stopped keeping up. That's the interesting thing about illusions. The mind wants an explanation, but sometimes the experience becomes stronger than the explanation itself. There's a moment during certain illusions where people stop thinking like spectators for a brief second. The illusion feels real to them, not because they truly believe the laws of reality have changed, but because the emotions temporarily overpower logic. I've seen that moment happen many times. The eyes whiten, the room becomes quieter, people stop joking, and suddenly the impossible doesn't feel so impossible anymore. That's when illusion becomes more than entertainment. It becomes an experience. And honestly, there are always the moments people remember. Not necessarily the method, not every detail of the trick, but the feeling they had while watching it. I remember practicing an illusion at the airport once called the Bat. I was sitting at a table casually working through the move over and over again. At that time, I thought, hey, no one is really paying attention. Then suddenly, a woman nearby caught the illusion out of the corner of her eyes, and to her, it looked like a penny literally transferred into a dime. Not slowly, not suspiciously, instantly. The change happened so fast. That genuinely looked impossible. She looked at me completely shocked and said, "Wow, amazing. Let me see that again." And honestly, that's one of the funniest moments for a magician because the audience thinks repeating the illusion will help them understand it, while the magician is usually thinking, there's no way I'm risking that again. So I smiled and told her, oh no, once someone stares too hard, the magic stops working. Of course, I knew the real reason. I simply didn't want to push my luck. But moments like that taught me something important about illusions. Sometimes people don't need a perfect performance, they just need one impossible moment that feels real. People are not only reacting to the trick, they are reacting to what the trick makes them feel: wonder, curiosity, shock, sometimes even fear, because for a brief moment, the normal rule of reality no longer feels certain. And maybe that's why people become emotionally attached to illusions, not because they truly believe someone has supernatural powers, but because part of the human mind still wants mystery to exist. Even adults carry that feeling, the desire to experience something impossible, something unexplained. I think that's why great illusion stays with people for years, not because they remember every detail, but because they remember how it felt. Looking back now, I truly believe that one experience changed my life after seeing David Copperfield perform live. I never looked at magic the same way again. From that point, I never wanted to miss another magic special on television. I was glued onto the TV. I started reading every magic book I could find, studying illusions, learning methods, practicing constantly. And later in life, I was fortunate enough to travel, often for work. But no matter what city I visited, one of the first places I searched for was always the local magic shop. Back then, they had yellow pages, so I was always searching for the yellow pages under stores for magic shows, magic shops, because there was no internet, no computer back then. Not to give out my age, I'm not that old, but still, I lived through that era. There was something special about walking into those stores, the atmosphere, the secrets, the feeling that anything impossible might exist behind the counter. I bought tricks everywhere I went: cards, coins, rope illusions, believe it or not, VHS tapes on tricks. For example, Jeff McBride, to be exact, card manipulation, books filled with many mysteries. And the amazing part is all of it began because of one live performance, one moment sitting in an audience, watching the impossible happen right in front of me. And if you haven't done that yet, you need to go watch a live magic show. It's I'm talking about the one where you're sitting in the audience in a coliseum or whatever, a theater. I'm not talking about little birthday magic. I mean, even though that's still, that's still good. Not putting them down, but the difference between that and going and seeing one in the theater is a big difference. That experience didn't just entertain me; it introduced me to an entirely different world, a world of mystery, wonders, psychology, and illusions. And honestly, I'm still exploring that world to this day. There's so much still to learn. And maybe people don't believe in illusion because they are foolish. Maybe they believe because life becomes too ordinary without mystery. And perhaps that's the true purpose of illusion. Not to convince people the impossible is real, but to remind them that wonder still exists. This is Beyond the Illusion with the R-TisT-O. And remember, long after the illusion fades, what remains is the legacy we leave behind. Create your legacy.